Most people think they're being ignored because they're not interesting enough, not attractive enough, or not important enough. But the truth is much more uncomfortable and much more empowering at the same time. People don't ignore you randomly. They respond to signals, and whether you realize it or not, you are constantly sending signals about your value, your confidence, and your place in the social hierarchy. And if those signals are unclear, low energy, or inconsistent, people instinctively move their attention elsewhere, not because they hate you, but because the human brain is wired to prioritize clarity, certainty, and perceived value. So if you've ever felt like people talk over you, leave your messages on read, forget to include you, or just don't seem to take you seriously, this video is going to break down exactly why that happens, and more importantly, how to fix it in a way that actually changes how people see you starting immediately. Because the first reason people ignore you is something called low signal clarity, which means you're communicating, but not in a way that feels strong or grounded. For example, speaking too softly, over-explaining your point, adding unnecessary fillers like, "I don't know," or "maybe this is wrong, but," or constantly seeking approval before you even finish your sentence. And what this does is it subconsciously tells people that you're unsure of yourself, and when you're unsure, people don't feel compelled to listen, because confidence acts like a spotlight. It directs attention, and without it, your words fade into the background. So the fix here is not to become louder or aggressive, but to become more intentional with your delivery. Speak in shorter sentences, pause instead of filling silence, and remove unnecessary qualifiers, because silence combined with clarity creates authority. And once you do this, you'll notice people start paying more attention even if you say less. Now the second reason people ignore you is low perceived value. And this one is brutal but important. People pay attention to what feels valuable to them, not what you think should matter. So if your conversations revolve around complaining, repeating the same stories, or adding nothing new or useful, people's brains categorize you as low priority, not consciously, but automatically, because attention is limited, and humans are constantly filtering for what feels rewarding, insightful, or emotionally engaging. So if you want to fix this, you need to become someone who adds value in interactions, and value doesn't mean being the smartest person in the room. It means bringing something that shifts the moment, whether that's a new perspective, a sharp observation, a relevant story, or even just positive energy that people enjoy being around. Because people remember how you make them feel more than what you say. And when you consistently elevate interactions, people start seeking your presence instead of ignoring it. The third reason is neediness. And this is one of the biggest silent killers of attention. Because when you constantly chase responses, double text, seek validation, or try too hard to be liked, you create pressure, and pressure makes people pull away. Because psychologically, humans value what feels scarce and independent, not what feels overly available and dependent. So when your behavior signals that you need attention rather than choose interaction, people instinctively deprioritize you, not because they're cruel, but because your energy feels heavy. And the fix here is to shift from seeking validation to expressing yourself without attachment to the outcome. Send the message once, say what you want to say clearly, and then mentally move on. Because detachment creates attractiveness. And when people feel that you're not chasing them, they become more curious about you. The fourth reason people ignore you is weak boundaries. And this is something most people completely overlook. If you allow interruptions, tolerate disrespect, or constantly adjust yourself to please others, you train people to treat you as optional, because boundaries define how others perceive your worth, and without them, you blend into the background. So fixing this doesn't mean becoming confrontational, it means being calmly assertive. If someone interrupts you, continue speaking without apologizing. If someone dismisses you, don't laugh it off. Hold your ground with composure. Because when you respect your own presence, others are forced to recognize it. The fifth reason is lack of emotional presence, which means you're physically there, but mentally absent or disengaged. Maybe you're overthinking, anxious, or just not fully present in the moment. And people can feel this instantly, because attention is not just about words. It's about energy, eye contact, timing, and responsiveness. So if your energy feels scattered or withdrawn, people unconsciously disconnect. And the fix here is to anchor yourself in the moment. Focus on the conversation, maintain steady eye contact, and respond with intention rather than reacting out of anxiety. Because presence is magnetic, and when you're fully there, people naturally tune into you. Now here's where it gets deeper, because beyond these surface behaviors, there's a core principle that explains everything. And that principle is this. People don't respond to who you think you are. They respond to the version of you that you consistently show through your behavior, your tone, your timing, and your energy. And this means that if you've been ignored in the past, it's not a permanent identity. It's a pattern, and patterns can be changed, but only if you become aware of the signals you're sending and start intentionally upgrading them. Because the moment you shift how you communicate, how you carry yourself, and how you value your own presence, people's reactions start to change, not because they suddenly decided to like you, but because you gave them a different version of you to respond to, and this is where most people get it wrong. They try to be louder, funnier, or more entertaining, thinking that will fix everything, but real attention doesn't come from trying harder. It comes from being clearer, calmer, and more grounded in your own value. Because when you stop chasing attention and start embodying presence, attention comes to you, and you'll start noticing small shifts. People stop interrupting you. They respond faster. They include you more. They ask for your opinion, and it won't feel forced. It will feel natural, because you aligned your behavior with how people are wired to perceive value and confidence. So if you've been feeling ignored, don't take it as rejection, take it as feedback, because once you understand the psychology behind it, you realize that you were never invisible. You were just sending the wrong signals. And the moment you change those signals, everything changes, and once you see this, you can't unsee it.